Outside the police's head office in Cape Town. That's to highlight the increased incidence of gender-based violence. It follows the recent murders of 3 women allegedly at the hands of their boyfriends. Now, the protests have been organized by the South African Youth Council in the province of the Western Cape. Let's cross now to my colleague Vanessa Poonah, who is in Cape Town, of course, with regards to that protest. Vanessa, certainly things peaceful, but the message here very clear: stop the violence.
Arabile, yes, good afternoon to you. A very strong message, albeit with a small handful of activists. But the message is indeed one which is affecting South Africa at the moment, something the President himself called a raging pandemic. And that, of course, is the ongoing gender-based violence that we see claiming the lives of not just young women, children, etc. I mean, just in recent weeks in Cape Town alone, we know that there's been a killing of a mother and a 7-year-old child, Renisha and Altisha Korkia, in Balha. There was a memorial service for them in that area last night. In Khayelitsha, a young woman, Sibongiseni Gabada, who went missing for a number of weeks. Her body was found stuffed in a sports bag in front of a shack in Khayelitsha. Unfortunately, Arabile, these are only the ones, the cases that make it to news bulletins, that make it to be highlighted. But there are so many incidents of gender-based violence where women are still suffering at the hands of very close partners in the homes, whether they are being beaten, whether they are being emotionally abused, whether they're being physically and verbally abused. And this concept of gender-based violence is something that this group of activists behind me have highlighted in the memorandum to the police who've received that memorandum. But joining me to speak about exactly what the contents of this memorandum is Zuko Munyai. He's from the South African Youth Council in the Western Cape. Zuko, very warm good afternoon to you. You've come together. It's a peaceful protest. Most of you wearing black. We've seen the hashtags about Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, and a very poignant today is this poster saying Women's Lives Matter. What is your message to the police in your memorandum handed over?
Okay, firstly, I'd like to highlight that this is a continuation of the South African Youth Council commemoration of June 16. On the June 16, we had a virtual talk on gender-based violence by a gender-based violence activist, Lucinda Evans. And we are here today to hand over a memorandum to the Western Cape Provincial Commissioner of Police. One of the things that we are saying is that we need a report that must be commissioned in terms of the ministerial 6-point plan to address gender-based violence. And also, we are demanding that there needs to be a specialized unit that will be trained from the SABC and will be deployed in local clinics and in local hospitals so that there can be an immediate response to cases of gender-based violence. But most critically, we are not, while we appreciate the announcement made by the President, we are not shocked because the gender-based summit, the National Gender-Based Summit convened by the President, made an announcement of a similar kind that the gender-based violence was a national crisis, and it made commitments that have not been lived up to. Now, the announcement of the National Strategic Plan, we need to know as to what has been the implementation of the emergency span that was also agreed upon in 2018. So we are not shocked at this. Hence, we came at this critical point where they are the first people to respond to such cases. So we are here to make such demands, and we appreciate that they accepted the memorandum and made an admission that there's been failure on the side of the SABC with regards to gender-based violence.
Zuko, I'm sure as a man in society, you will also agree that there is also a constant failure of men in society to protect women. And whilst we can hand over the memorandums to police, whilst the President can announce a range of measures, at the end of the day, when doors are closed, women go home with their boyfriends, with their husbands, and 9 times out of 10, that is where the gender-based violence occurs.
You know, most importantly, Vanessa, that is why part of our memorandum, we are saying that there needs to be a partnership between police and gender-based violence organizations so that we can be able to address this issue, because as much as gender-based violence is a criminal act, it is also a social issue. It reflects deep-seated social-economic conditions of our people.
Thank you very much, Zuko. Of course, from the South African Youth Council, just having handed over memorandum in the ongoing fight against gender-based violence in South Africa.
Vanessa Poonah, thank you so much for that. Out in the Western Cape, there in Cape Town, following that gender-based violence and femicide march that is happening out in the city of Cape Town. She's following that story for us. Thank you so much for your reporting there.